この星が暮らしやすくなれば何でも。
Dude, I'm pretty sure all the fangirls that you've kept waiting share a very different opinion. Did they stop squealing yet? Nope. This week, we finally got to see the show's intro buffer, which was one of the cheapest looking so far, with just Nodoka and Rablin coming in with a cloth with their logo on it. I guess Ichika renting that springboard every week must have gotten expensive. Well, anyway, after thankfully a short recap of the last episode, we cut over to Chiyu and Hinata visiting Nodoka's home, which apparently was renovated by her father. Yeah, this guy was an interior designer, and later in this episode we would learn more about his wife's job too. Speaking of whom, she was cradling Latte with the tambourine from the ending credits. Yeah, I guess that thing is just gonna be a prop and not play into the Precure's battles in any way. Fine by me, I already have to talk about Battle Tambourine in a different show. Anyway, with a certain film on the horizon, this week's opening was replaced with clips from Miracle Leap. It unfortunately didn't have too much we haven't already seen in the normal trailers other than a few bits of animal abuse. Seriously, that looks painful. Back with the actual show, Nodoka's mother had decided that since her daughter's condition had improved, she could start going back to work. Nodoka reflected on this with her fairy friends, and okay, I usually don't swoon over every cute little thing, but Rablin in those PJs is just beyond adorable, and I want a plushie of that right now. The next day, Nodoka confirmed that her mother had indeed got back to her old job as a delivery driver. So, is it because of Nodoka that I'm still waiting on my deluxe groove to arrive? By the way, if you get all these references, you're cool. It wasn't the exact same job she had before, as she was now working for a local delivery service after having worked for a bigger, likely nationwide company, I'm guessing Amazonas. However, whether or not she was working for a soulless corporation, it still meant that the fairies, including Latte, were going to be left home alone. And after having spent at least a day without the missus, the little pup was feeling down. Thus, like any dog really, when given the first opportunity, and as the title suggests, she made her great escape. The healing animals almost caught up to her, but running around in the middle of the day was of course going to involve a lot of obstacles. So of course, this is going to lead to your standard hijinks-filled episode with the healing animals trying to bring Latte home without even considering the obvious solution of getting the Precure to help them. Why does this series keep making me like it so much? Sure enough, just as soon as they got their human partners involved, they were able to safely get their dog back. In the process, they ended up in front of the local delivery company where Mrs. Hanadera worked. Obviously, the pup wanted to see her, so the designated negotiator of this team tried to see if she was in. Seriously, I just love how Chiyu subtly, yet naturally just went to the offices to perform her role as the brains of this team. Unfortunately though, Mrs. Hanadera was out picking up produce from an affiliated grower. Guaiwaru, you're not supposed to be the villain this week. Yeah, strangely enough, even though this farmer character isn't listed in the credits, that's clearly Guaiwaru's voice actor, Hiroki Yasumoto, playing him. Now, this wouldn't actually bother me so much if A, he didn't use the exact same voice, and B, they didn't have the villain appear in this episode.
You know, Peter says we sound alike. Really? I don't hear it. Actually, I think I do hear it now.
Well, speaking of voices, the Precure used their stethoscope to listen to what the pooch was thinking. Sure enough, Latte was looking for Mrs. Hanadera because she reminded her of her real mother, who she was longing to see again. Nodoka was able to relate and showed us a flashback of her sickly walking around looking for her mother. I think I'm going to end up in the hospital if you guys keep playing with my heart like this. They all apologized for not recognizing the puppy's distress sooner. Touching stuff that doesn't feel as unearned as other cases, but more on that at the end. Right now though, it was time for the fight of the week with Darius. Well, I forgot about the pain in my heart at least. Anyway, you-know-who created a Mega Byogen out of the greenhouses, and oh come on, we're getting 2 tentacle monsters in a row? Jeez, this show is trying to push all kinds of envelopes. Anyway, our heroines tried to rush to the scene, but had to take a short breather for their leader's sake. Yeah, thankfully they haven't forgotten about this aspect of Nodoka's character. Granted, it doesn't play a huge part in this episode since she's able to power through her weak constitution thanks to some adrenaline built up from knowing that her mother was in danger. With that, the remainder of the episode that was about 8 minutes was dedicated to a lengthier fight. Sure, it didn't look nearly as good as the short fight from episode 4, but there was still a lot going on. Most notably, after the team was split up, with Shiyu and Hinata dealing with the monster, while Nodoka, trapped by the Mega Byogen's pathogens, got acquainted with her obvious rival. Still, I will admit, this was one of the most effective rival introductions in the franchise, with Daruzen actually taking some of the Mega Byogen's pathogens and spraying it all over both Nodoka and Ramblin's faces. Oh yeah, they do keep saying you're not supposed to touch your face or anyone else's because of the... Oh, right, I can't talk about that thing on this platform for whatever reason. Just dumb. Seriously though, this more than likely is referencing that thing that's all over the news right now. And just as they say in the second episode, like an actual germ, the denizens of the Byogen Kingdom, like Daruzen, wanted to turn Earth's environment into something more ideal just for them. This in turn put him in direct opposition with the very selfless Nodoka, thus effectively setting up a rivalry between these two. Though any direct confrontations would have to be saved for another day, as saving the planet came first. Using some good teamwork in that all 3 cures contributed something to the fight, they defeated the Mega Byogen, and Daruzen just nonchalantly retreated, likely to keep them fangirls wanting more. Afterwards, they needed to borrow some juice from the fruit elemental to heal Latte. However, for whatever reason, this particular elemental was feeling a little more generous and even provided them with a new toy for Daddy to buy. I mean, the new elemental bottle. Yeah, apparently these things are going to be the big MacGuffins of the series, as they're supposed to be incredibly rare and powerful items. The fact that they just casually got it from a random elemental is more than a little underwhelming, but who knows, maybe they run by gacha mechanics or something. The team went to check up on Mrs. Hanadera, who somehow hadn't suffered any severe injuries. Dang, the civilians in the show are tough. Well, with that, the episode ended with her entrusting her daughter to her new friends, and likewise, another mother entrusted her child to her new friends / pet owners. This was yet another strong character building episode for Nodoka, and even a little for Latte, who amazingly has avoided many of the same pitfalls of previous baby fairy mascot characters. And even though the fight animation this week wasn't the best, pretty much everything involving Daruzen, the pretty boy everyone keeps screaming about, was really well done. One thing that I really liked about this episode is that, other than the product placement, nothing really felt too forced in this one. From the healing animals not doing the dumb cliche thing by trying to get Latte on their own, to them apologizing to said pup. Yeah, she caused them a little trouble, but to be fair, she was acting like any emotional toddler would in a similar situation. And while she does have a slightly higher degree of intelligence, she still comes off as an innocent child who's not overstepping her bounds. And of course, this allowed us to see a little more of Nodoka's compassion towards those close to her, thus setting her up for a great encounter with Daruzen. While initially coming off as just a lazy bum, this episode used that trait to turn him into a really effective villain who felt no remorse while spraying his disease in a very topical manner. Again, that face thing can't be a coincidence. While it is a fairly basic rivalry, it's still established so effectively here that it's hard not to get invested. Other minor things I liked about this one included Shiyu and Hinata being surprisingly proactive even though this wasn't their episode. this included the fight, which, again, even though it could have looked better, I appreciate that all three played a part in Omega Byogen's takedown. Though I'll admit, them just receiving the new elemental bottle was a little underwhelming, but I am at least intrigued to see what they can do. And hopefully, this series in general can keep me at least intrigued through its heroes, villains, and maybe even its toys. It's been a busy week, and as a result, I wasn't able to get as much work done on the second part of my Happiness Charge Precure review as much as I would have wanted. Still, I will try to get it done as soon as I can, as I do think this part of the series isn't as much of a handful to cover as other parts are. All I'll really say is, it'll be done when it's done, so once again, no ETA. Still look forward to it, and until then, though, farewell for now, my friends, and remember to always wash your hands. Will you get off my back already?